A warm welcome to Disky Talk with Luyolo. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I do ask that you please subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you've been a part of this journey, I hope you thoroughly enjoy this episode. So, on today's episode, I discuss all things Nedbank Cup as I'll have a look at the round of 16 fixtures and then have a pre-match analysis of Marumo Gallants versus Orlando Pirates. So, when we have a look at it then, the Nedbank Cup will be underway this week and we've got the round of 16 fixtures. So, to kick it all off then, you've got Mamelodi Sundowns versus Mataitai. And I think then that should be a game where Mamelodi Sundowns should win comfortably. And then when you move on right along then, you've got Venda Football Academy versus University of Pretoria. So I think then that is a very interesting encounter considering that these are two Glad Africa Championship teams. So I think then it's going to be a very difficult match for both teams, and I don't think it's going to be an easy one. However, based off form, I do think that University of Pretoria will win that encounter. You then have Sinengani FC versus Chakuma. So when you have a look at that then, Chakuma did then knock out Golden Arrows within the round of 32 after penalty shootout. And I was quite impressed with regards to how they applied themselves and the type of football then that they were playing on the day. And when you have a look then at Sinengani, this is relatively an unknown team. However, it's going to be a very interesting encounter, but I will give it to Chakuma for them to go through. You then have Platinum City Rovers versus SuperSport United. That game, I do foresee SuperSport United going through. You then have Summerfield Dynamos FC versus Black Eagles FC. There, I do foresee Summerfield Dynamos FC going through. And then you've got TS Galaxy versus Baroka, which is the last fixture. So when you have a look at this fixture then, it's quite interesting then considering the fact that in the past couple of days, they actually did play against each other within the DStv Premiership, where Baroka did win 1-0. Both teams do find themselves then within the relegation zone. So when you now have a look at the Nedbank Cup, it's going to be very interesting to see then with regards to how they approach the match, especially considering then that the most important aspect is both teams trying to survive and being able then to ensure that they retain the status for next season. And whichever team then does go through to the quarterfinals, it's going to be very interesting to see how they juggle both the Nedbank Cup and DStv Premiership as well. However, I do foresee TS Galaxy winning this one. So when we move it on then right along, we then have Marumo Gallants versus Orlando Pirates, which is then the pre-match analysis that I will have a tactical look at. So when you have a look at things then, you do have the red team, which will represent Marumo Gallants, and then the blue team will represent Orlando Pirates. So when you have a look at it then, Marumo Gallants underneath Coach Dan Dance, they've been doing very well within the DStv Premiership, and they've also been doing very well with regards to ensuring that they had a good performance. They scored the goals against Santos and they were able then to progress to the round of 16. So when you have a look at them then, this is a side then that appreciate and value ball possession, and they do look to impose themselves and they do look to build up from the back, look then to work the ball into consolidation phase and then penetrate in the final third, as they do have a couple of exciting players. However, let's have a look at some of those players. So in goals then, they do start with Ndlondlo, and then a back four. At left back, they do start with Mabocha. So with Mabocha then, this is a fullback then that can offer you that width at times where he's looking to then advance forward, and he also then has very good technique. And on the left hand side, he is a player then who also offers you that quality within deep pockets of space with regards to progressing the ball. And then when you have a look at the centre-back pairing, as the left-sided centre-back, you do have Ulishogo Nonyane, and then you also have Unkili. So these two then have been playing together for quite some time now. So they are establishing that relationship at the heart of defense. And then when you have a look at Nonyane, this is a very experienced campaigner. He's left-footed. So within build-up phase for this Marumo Gallants side, he does then offer them that good positioning with regards to receiving the ball, because then he's always able then to receive on his back foot, which is his left foot, and look to progress play for this Marumo Gallants side, because it's very important with regards to how they look to build up. And then when you have a look at the right back, you do have Umvelase. So when you have a look at Umvelase, this is naturally a winger, so he does tend to bomb forward a lot more than Mabota would on the other side, and he does then look to offer you then those crosses into the box and that width as well within the right wide channel, and also a player then who's very comfortable on the ball and very good then when it comes to ensuring that he's able to make decisions under pressure, and also then very good at working through those tight pockets of space, as he is then naturally a winger. And then when you move on then right along within the heart of midfield. So when you have a look at the heart of midfield then, they do start with Miguel Tim. This is a player then who's very comfortable on the ball. He does look then to help this Marumo Gallants side progress play from build-up phase into consolidation phase. And he's also a combative midfielder. He's not afraid to get stuck in, and a player then who's very key when it comes to how then Marumo Gallants look to progress the ball and how they look to impose themselves against opposition. And then when you have a look at the other two midfielders, as it is a midfield three, you've got Ungema, and then you do have Ndlondlo. So when you have a look at Ndlondlo, then this is a player who has been scoring the goals as of late, and that's because we've seen him occupy more advanced pockets of space, and we've also seen him being able to push up a lot more. And I think then he's been able to contribute to this Marumo Gallants side, not just with his creativity within those tight pockets of space, not then with his ball progression and with him looking then for those penetrative passes, but now he's starting to also score the goals as well. That then makes him then a complete playmaker in that regard, where then he's able then to give you the assist, and he's also then able to score the goals as well. So when you have a look at him then, he will be their key player with regards to then how he looks then to penetrate into the final third and continue then his goal scoring run. Also then when you have a look at him, he does offer you then that positional superiority with regards to how he looks then to receive within the half space and in between the lines as well. At times he will move laterally in between the lines, and sometimes you could see him and Ungema within the same pocket of space looking to combine as well, as they are then the key players within this Marumo Gallants side with regards then to trying to break down opposition as well. And then when you move on then right along and have a look at the right winger. So on the right wing, I do see Molongwane starting on the right wing. With Molongwane, he's a very quick player, very good in 1v1 offensive situations, as he can beat his man and then look to play those crosses inside. And then on the left-hand side, I do see them starting with Otladisa. With Otladisa, he is very skillful and a very creative winger as well. So this is a player then who does create chances for this Marumo Gallants side. At times, he does tend to drift into the half space and even drift into zone 14, where then he's looking to get shots on goal. And you will often see them, him and Molongwane often exchanging wings at times, whenever then they look to impose themselves differently and look to go at the opposite fullback. And then up front, they will most likely start with Dion. So this is then a very strong striker, physically imposing, and he's also good then at holding the ball up and bringing his creative players into the game. So it's going to be very interesting then with regards to how Marumo Gallants impose themselves, especially then against an Orlando Pirates side, which then also look then to value ball possession with regards to how then they look to play and impose themselves. However, let's then move right along then to Orlando Pirates. So when you have a look at Orlando Pirates then, they managed to beat Amazulu within the round of 32. And that's how they managed then to get to the round of 16. However, when you have a look at Orlando Pirates, then the last time out in the Soweto Derby, they did lose against Chiefs 2-1. So coming up into the Nedbank Cup, they will be trying then to ensure that they're able to right certain wrongs from the previous game against Kaizer Chiefs, and they'll also then be looking then to ensure that they can progress to the next round so that they have a chance to at least try and win a trophy this season, because we do know that the gap within the DStv Premiership, it's over. That is for Sundowns, and also then they're also competing within the CAF Confederations Cup, so it's going to be very important then that they look to compete within the Nedbank Cup as well to give themselves the best possible chance of at least trying to have one trophy by the end of the season. So when you have a look at Orlando Pirates, then they have been playing then a 3-4-2-1, which then would transition to a 4-4-2/4-5-1, at times 4-2-3-1, whenever then they don't have the ball, and they are looking then to institute a mid or a high block. So when you have a look at this Orlando Pirates side, then I do think that Mponchane will start in goals, and then as the back three, the last time out against Kaizer Chiefs, you did have Oli Sanda starting as a right-sided centre-back, you had Nyauza, and then you had Paseka Marco. So when you have a look at these three then, I just think that Jele would be a better fit, especially considering then that the last time out, within the box, within the dying minutes, they did concede that goal. And one would think that Jele is a lot better in the air than Nyauza. So if you have him there, it does then ensure that that back three is a lot more solid. So when you have a look at it then, I do think that Jele should make his way back, and that we could see then a back three of Olisanda, Jele, and Paseka Marco. However, because then it is the Nedbank Cup, coaches then can always look then to bring fresh faces, can always then look to bring different players, and also then in consideration with regards to Orlando Pirates' schedule, with regards to how then they've got DStv Premiership, and they've also got CAF Confederations Cup. So some changes could be made to this starting 11 that I might call out, and we could see some players actually then retain their positions. However, I do see Mponchane in goals, right-sided centre-back Olisanda, Happy Jele, and then Paseka Marco. And then when you move on right along then, when you have a look at the right wing back, you do have Bandile Shandu, who's been in fine form. And when you have a look at Bandile Shandu, he does offer you that width within vertical zone 5, within the right wide channel. And he's also then a player who we've started seeing drift in a lot more, and also then ensuring that he's got that final third penetration and he's got that box entry as well, where then he has been scoring a couple of goals as of late. So at times, he will give you that width, and then whenever play allows him to, he will drift in and look to get into the box and look to have that shot on target. And he has been scoring goals. So I wouldn't be surprised then if he did pop up with the goal in this encounter. So Bandile Shandu as the right wing back. And then when you have a look at the left wing back, you do have Uhoto. When you have a look at Hoto then, this is a player then who has been key for this Orlando Pirates side this season. He has scored quite a number of goals, and he's also provided a lot of assists as well. And this is a player then who also has a very good technical skill set with regards then to his deliveries from standard situations and direct free kicks as well. So like Shandu then, Hoto does also drift in and look to break into the box and have that final third penetration and box entry, where then he's looking to score goals for this Orlando Pirates side. However, the difference then between Shandu and Hoto is that whenever then they are out of possession, Shandu then does drop and tuck in and make it a back four, whereas then Hoto then becomes a left winger. So out of possession, that's the transition. In possession, they then both take up very similar positions with regards to their wide channels. However, Hoto being the more aggressive one and the one who drift in a lot more, because he is then naturally an attacking player. And then within the heart of midfield, the last time out, they did start with Umunare and they started with Mutware as well. However, we did see Mutware being taken off and Abel Mabaso was brought on. However, I do foresee Musele coming back, because we do know that against Kaizer Chiefs he was suspended. So I do see Musele and Munare within the heart of midfield. However, because it is the Nedbank Cup, I would like to see Nkanyiso Zungu being given an opportunity within the heart of midfield for this Orlando Pirates side, especially considering then that Orlando Pirates from a midfield perspective have been struggling with regards to progressing that ball within those tight pockets of space, and a midfielder then who's able to play penetrative and creative passes then which break the lines, where then he's able to find his men within those half spaces and find his creative players in between the lines, and a player then who's well adept at manipulating the ball within those tight pockets of space, and also then being able to thread the ball within those tight pockets of space. So I think if Nkanyiso Zungu was given an opportunity within this midfield, I think with regards to the ball progression and trying to break into the final third, Orlando Pirates would be a lot better, because I just feel that from a qualitative perspective, he is a lot better when it comes then to that aspect of the game. So then I do foresee Musele and Munare starting within the heart of midfield. And then as your 2 10s, Thembinkosi Lorch and then Kabelo Dlamini as well. However, because Pirates do have a plethora of options and numerous players that can always then offer them something different, things can always change with regards to the number 10s. However, I do see Lorch and Dlamini starting there. And when you have a look at these two players then, they are very key and instrumental for this Orlando Pirates side. However, because there's lack of ball progression directly into them, they do tend to drop a bit too deep at times. And when they do drop deep at times, then they are not a threat as much, because then with Thembinkosi Lorch and Kabelo Dlamini, you want them as advanced as possible within the half spaces, and you want them breaking into the box, looking then to have that final third penetration and box entries, and also then occupying zone 14, where then they could look to hurt the opposition, as opposed to them always then looking to drop deep to try and dictate play, because then sometimes their midfield isn't able then to thread those passes in between the lines. So they do then offer you then that numerical superiority with regards to Orlando Pirates midfield box, where there they have a 4v3. So with that numerical superiority, they will be looking then to control things within the heart of midfield. And then when you have a look at Thembinkosi Lorch, he does offer you qualitative and positional superiority with regards to then how he looks to receive the ball in between the lines. However, Thembinkosi Lorch does tend to also drift, as he does have a free role within this Orlando Pirates side. So you will see him drifting to the right-hand side, where then with Shandu, they could institute a wide overload or a 2v1. At times, you would see him drifting to the left-hand side as well. And he is a player that can also break into the box and give you then that final third penetration, as he has an eye for goal as well. And then up front, the last time out, they did start with Pepra. So with Pepra then, he is a very hard-working player who's going to look then to run those channels and give Orlando Pirates the presence up front. However, like I did mention, Orlando Pirates do have quality players that can always come off the bench and affect the game. You do have Lipasa, you do have a Makaringe, you do have a Makubela as well. Just various players and numerous players then that can always come into the game and look to affect the game, because I do foresee this being a very entertaining game, especially considering that both sides do appreciate ball possession. Both sides do at times look then to have central overloads and wide overloads, and both teams have players then who have that quality with regards to being able to express themselves within those tight pockets of space, being able then to break into the final third, using their imagination, using their speed, and using their skill as well. So from that perspective, I do see it being a very, very interesting encounter. However, I do foresee Orlando Pirates winning this game 2-1. Ladies and gentlemen, do let me know, what do you make of the Nedbank Cup round of 16 fixtures? Who do you think will advance to the quarterfinal? And then, when it comes to this encounter of Marumo Gallants versus Orlando Pirates, how do you guys see it playing out? Thank you very much for tuning in to yet another special episode of Diski Talk with Luyolo. Signing out.